Hey, welcome to the channel. My name is Alan, and this is the first video in a new series I'm doing called In Plain Sight. It's about sharing experiences on how I see the world through my photography. Today's video is about a surprise for me on my birthday. So, without further ado, let's get started. A few months before my birthday, my girlfriend and I went out to dinner. We sat at the bar, had a cocktail, and something to eat. Now, if I'm going to have a cocktail, typically my drink of choice is a rye whiskey. And on that night, I ordered a rye whiskey from a distillery I never had before called Redwood Empire. And I enjoyed it very, very much. Now, fast forward to the day of my birthday, and my girlfriend tells me we're going to go on a road trip to the city of Vallejo. And that's all she says. Naturally, I was curious, excited, and wondered what she had planned for the day ahead. On the way there, she got to drive, and I got to take a few photos, enjoying the marshland scenery. And as you can see, it was a super beautiful day. I had to take pics. The closer we got to the city of Vallejo, I started to realize we were actually heading towards Mare Island. We soon stopped, had lunch at a small park near the waterfront. And after lunch, we took a short walk to the waterfront towards a row of red brick buildings, all facing the water. As we walked closer to the water, we rounded one of the buildings, and I saw a sign painted on one of the brick walls called Redwood Empire. And I remember thinking, I know the name Redwood Empire, but it didn't click. And then it hit me. This was the Redwood Empire Distillery. I had no idea they were on Mare Island or even in California. And that's when she told me she had made reservations for us to have a tour and tasting of the distillery. I was so surprised. What a thoughtful and exciting thing she had planned, and I couldn't wait to get in. As we walked in, we noticed there was a restaurant, a full bar, and live music, which I wasn't even expecting. I was just thinking it was a distillery. Once our names were called, we were led into a big room lined with aging barrels of whiskey, and that's where the tour started. They started to talk a little history about Mare Island, and honestly, I didn't know much about the history beyond the fact that it used to be a naval shipyard. Apparently, in 1854, it became the first naval base on the West Coast, and for the next 142 years, this island was alive with ships under construction, with people working around the clock. More than 500 naval vessels, including submarines, were built right here on the island. And at its peak during World War II, Mare Island employed nearly 100,000 people. And then in 1996, the shipyard shut down almost overnight. Now, I find myself standing inside a historic building watching something entirely new being built: whiskey. As the tour continued, we learned that Redwood Empire reused many of the materials from the shipyard years. Old wood and metal became doors, tables, and design details throughout the entire space. It created an environment that felt intentional, respectful of its history, but clearly looking forward. Now, you may not know this, but the name Redwood Empire comes from Northern California's original redwood forest. And at one point, it stretched along much of the coast. Today, less than 3% of that forest remains, and what's left is protected, thanks to early conservationists like John Muir. Redwood Empire carries that value forward. They support Save the Redwoods League, and through partnerships like Trees for the Future. They've helped plant over 1.7 million trees to date. That's no joke. I can believe it when I heard it. And they tie each of their labels back to a different protected tree, which includes a different quote from John Muir. I love that Redwood Empire honors Mare Island's history and also supports our environment. I realize many companies support good causes, but this was really a pleasant surprise. Okay, so getting back to the distillery. The restaurant, bar, and live music were all on the first floor, along with, of course, the distillery, where dozens of all these barrels were stored. The overall look of the place and attention to detail really caught my eye. Their distilling column rose around, 2 stories high and was super beautiful to look at with its copper and round windows. Even the entrance to the fire department had character and style. I loved how it all came together. Now, we started to move upstairs, and we saw there were many more barrels, beautiful meeting rooms, comfortable lounges, and a very nice tasting room. It was clear this place was run by people who care, not just about what they make, but about the role they play in the community. One detail that really stood out to me was a set of metal drawers located in one of those lounges that I mentioned. At one time, this set of drawers held medical records for the people who lived and worked on the island. Things like this very often end up in landfills, and now it's part of a clean, thoughtful space. This is just one of many examples of how they tied the rich history of the island into their building. And coming from a marketing and design background, I really enjoyed noticing the small things. For example, like their promotional posters designed to resemble old horror movie artwork. As the tour was nearing its end, we got to try about 6 different spirits. Each one of them was excellent. And as a final surprise, I got to take home a bottle of my choice. Naturally, I chose the rye. It was an incredible day. I learned a lot, experienced something new, and spent it with someone I love. Plus, I got to take pictures. After experiences like this, I always go back through the photos I take, and I try to look for the one photo that sums up my whole experience. Not the best photo, not the most impressive one, just the one that feels like it captures the entire experience. Whether I took 10 or 100 photos, it doesn't matter. There's usually one that stands out. Now, over time, I realized this simple practice has made me a better photographer. I end up paying more attention, I slow down, and I notice more. It gives me a better experience. It sometimes becomes a little game I play, so I'd like to share a photo I took with you that does that for me. You see, at the end of the tour, we were all heading out. I was one of the last to leave, which is something I often do, so I can take photos without missing the experience while it's happening. And that's when I noticed sunlight from a window across the wooden floor, landing perfectly beside the last barrel in the row. I knew immediately this visual would work fantastic in black and white, and here it is. I'm sharing this because, to me, that's part of what photography is really about. Taking photos of what you notice, what you respond to, not for likes on social media, although that's great, or for awards, and that's even better. Not for anyone else, just yourself, because it starts that way. I encourage you, after your next experience, to take a moment and really look at your photos. See if you can find one image that sums up the whole day for you. Think of it as like your visual version of a 30-second story. It can be a detail or a wide scene, it doesn't matter. It's just whatever resonates with you. That one image will mean much more to you over time and will help you see your world a whole lot better. Okay, I got to put this out there in case any of you were curious. Redwood Empire did not sponsor this video in any way. This is just simply me sharing what I noticed with you in plain sight. Okay, so I just want to thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the like button. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, I'd love for you to subscribe. More importantly, leave a comment. It would be great to hear from you. And if you have an image that sums up a moment from your day, your experience, doesn't matter, send it to photackular@gmail.com. I also have the email in the description. And if I select your photo, I'd be more than happy to share your story in a future video. Okay, so until next time, welcome to my world. I can't wait to see yours.